The crystal chandeliers of La Belle Époque cast diamonds of light across starched white tablecloths, but nobody noticed the beauty anymore. They were too busy watching her, Victoria Ashford, the millionaire's wife who could silence a room with one glacial stare. I'd worked at this restaurant for 3 years, and I'd seen grown men stumble over their words when she snapped her fingers, watched seasoned servers cry in the kitchen after enduring her venom. We all knew the rules: keep your head down, move fast, and pray you weren't assigned to table 7 when she arrived. But nobody told the new girl. Nobody warned Maya Chen that some battles aren't worth fighting, that some people are too powerful to challenge. And thank God nobody did, because what happened next would crack Victoria's porcelain facade and reveal the truth we'd all been too afraid to see. It started on a Thursday evening, the kind of night where the wealthy flocked to our restaurant like moths to flame, desperate to be seen, to be envied. Victoria swept through the entrance at precisely 7 p.m. She was always punctual, her Chanel suit pristine, her blonde hair sculpted into submission, her husband trailing 3 steps behind like an afterthought. Gerald Ashford had made his fortune in real estate, but everyone knew Victoria wore the crown in that marriage. Water. Room temperature. Lemon on the side. And if there's a single seed in my glass, someone will regret it, Victoria announced before her designer purse even touched the chair. Her voice carried that particular pitch of contempt that the truly cruel have perfected, loud enough for everyone to hear, but just soft enough to maintain plausible deniability. I watched from the kitchen window as Marcus, our most experienced server, approached their table with the careful movements of someone defusing a bomb. He'd served them dozens of times, knew every peculiarity, every landmine. But tonight, his hands trembled slightly as he set down the water glasses. "What is this?" Victoria's voice sliced through the ambient conversation. Marcus leaned in. "Your water, Mrs. Ashford. Room temperature, lemon on the... Do I look like someone who drinks from spotted glassware?" She held the glass up to the light, turning it slowly. "There's a watermark. A watermark. Do you people even train your staff anymore?" Marcus's face flushed crimson. "I'll get you a fresh glass immediately, ma'am. I sincerely apologize. You'll get me a fresh glass, a new server, and your manager. In that order." Victoria waved him away like he was a particularly persistent fly. This was standard procedure. We'd all been through it. Marcus would apologize profusely, Pierre the manager would grovel for 10 minutes, and Victoria would eventually allow them to continue serving her, but not before making sure everyone in the restaurant knew she was the queen and we were all peasants. Except tonight, something different happened. Maya Chen emerged from the kitchen carrying a tray of appetizers for table 9. She'd only been working with us for a week, a college student putting herself through nursing school, always smiling despite the grueling double shifts. She had this way of lighting up when she talked to customers, like she genuinely cared about whether they enjoyed their meal. She noticed Marcus standing frozen by the bar, his shoulders slumped in that defeated posture we all recognized. Without hesitation, Maya set down her tray and walked over to him. "Hey, you okay?" Her voice was soft, concerned. Marcus shook his head. "Table 7. Just don't volunteer for it, Maya. Trust me." But Maya was already scanning the dining room, her gaze landing on Victoria, who was now snapping her fingers at another server. "Is that the lady who needs a new water glass?" "Maya, don't," Marcus started, but she was already gone, moving toward table 7 with a fresh glass and a smile that had no idea it was walking into a war zone. I held my breath. We all did. "Good evening. I'm Maya, and I'll be taking care of you tonight." She set the spotless glass down in front of Victoria with a gentle clink. "I heard there was an issue with your previous glass, and I want to make sure everything is absolutely perfect for you." Victoria looked up slowly, her eyes narrowing as they traveled from Maya's sensible shoes to her slightly crooked name tag. "You're new?" "Yes, ma'am. 1 week tomorrow." Maya's enthusiasm was almost painful to watch. "I'm still learning, but I promise I'll do my absolute best to make your evening wonderful." A predatory smile curved Victoria's lips. "Well then, let's see how you handle this. I'd like the pan-seared scallops, but I need them completely dry, no oil, no butter. I want the risotto, but with cauliflower rice instead, and absolutely no cheese. And the chocolate soufflé for dessert, but make it with stevia instead of sugar and almond milk instead of cream." She paused, waiting for Maya to crack, to show even a flicker of frustration. These modifications would create chaos in the kitchen. The chef would be furious. It was designed to be impossible. Maya pulled out her notepad, writing quickly. Okay, so dry seared scallops, I'll make sure chef knows to use a non-stick pan so they don't burn without the fat. Cauliflower risotto, no dairy. And for the soufflé, she looked up, her expression thoughtful. That's actually going to be really tricky because soufflés need the fat content to rise properly. Would you be open to a flourless chocolate cake instead? We make an amazing one with almond flour and coconut oil that's absolutely decadent, and I can have them use stevia and almond milk. It'll give you that same rich chocolate experience without compromising your dietary needs. The dining room had gone quiet. Even the kitchen staff had pressed against the window to watch. Victoria's smile faltered. I suppose that would be acceptable. Wonderful. Maya beamed. And can I ask, are these modifications for allergies or dietary preferences? I want to make sure we avoid any cross-contamination if it's an allergy situation. Preferences, Victoria said stiffly. Got it. So you're watching your dairy and refined sugar intake. That's really admirable. Maya leaned in slightly, lowering her voice like she was sharing a secret. My mom has the same approach. She always says she feels so much better when she eats clean. Is there anything else I can do to make your meal exactly what you need? Victoria opened her mouth, then closed it. For the first time in 3 years, I saw confusion flicker across her face. She'd thrown her worst at this young woman, and instead of cowering or making excuses, Maya had treated her like a person. Like someone whose requests, however difficult, came from actual needs rather than a desire to dominate. No, Victoria finally said. That will be all. Perfect. I'll get this order in right away. Maya turned to Gerald, who'd been watching the entire exchange with wide eyes. And for you, sir. The meal proceeded without incident. Maya brought out each course with the same cheerful efficiency, checking on them regularly, refilling water glasses before they were empty, and treating Victoria exactly the way she treated every other customer, with genuine warmth and respect, but without any trace of fear. It was when dessert arrived that everything changed. Maya set the flourless chocolate cake in front of Victoria, and as she did, Victoria's phone buzzed on the table. The screen lit up with a text message. Visible to anyone standing nearby. I watched Maya's smile fade as she read it, just for a second, before she recovered. Enjoy your dessert, Mrs. Ashford. Let me know if you need anything else. Victoria picked up her fork, took a bite, and actually nodded. It's good. I'm so glad. Maya hesitated, then pulled out a piece of paper from her apron. Mrs. Ashford, I know this is probably overstepping, but I saw the text on your phone. About your mother's diagnosis. The fork clattered against the plate. Victoria's face went white, then red. You read my private. I'm so sorry. It was an accident, the screen was just right there. Maya's voice trembled slightly, but she pressed on. My grandmother had early onset Alzheimer's. I know how terrifying that diagnosis is, and I know how lonely it feels when everyone expects you to be strong all the time. I'm in nursing school because of her, actually. Because I couldn't help her, but maybe I can help someone else's grandmother. Someone else's mother. Victoria stared at her, and something cracked in her expression, something that had maybe been breaking for years. I'm not. Victoria's voice was barely a whisper. I don't you weak. You're not weak. You're human. Maya pulled out a napkin and wrote something down. This is the support group that helped my family. They meet on Tuesdays. You don't have to go, but if you ever need to talk to people who understand, they're there. No judgment. Just people who are going through the same thing. For a long moment, Victoria just stared at the napkin. Then she looked up at Maya, and her eyes were swimming. Why would you help me? I was horrible to you. Maya smiled softly. Because that's what we do. We help each other, especially when the world feels like it's falling apart. And Mrs. Ashford. It's okay to not have all the answers. It's okay to be scared. That doesn't make you less than anyone else. It makes you real. Victoria picked up the napkin with shaking fingers and tucked it into her purse. When she looked up again, her mascara had smudged slightly, making her look vulnerable, human, breakable. Thank you, she whispered. That night, Victoria Ashford left a $500 tip and a note that simply said, for kindness. And when she came back the following week, she didn't snap her fingers or critique the water glasses. She asked for Maya, ordered directly from the menu, and said, "Please," and "Thank you." Word spread through our small restaurant community. The dragon had been tamed, people said. But that wasn't quite right. Victoria Ashford hadn't been tamed. She'd been seen, really seen, maybe for the first time in years. Someone had looked past the designer clothes and the cutting remarks and recognized the frightened daughter beneath, the woman who'd built walls so high she'd forgotten what it felt like to be touched by grace. Maya taught us all something that night. She showed us that the most powerful weapon against cruelty isn't cruelty in return, it's relentless, unreasonable compassion. It's choosing to see the humanity in someone even when they're trying desperately to hide it. It's understanding that the people who are hardest to love often need love the most. Sometimes the bravest thing you can do isn't standing up to a bully. Sometimes it's kneeling down beside them and asking, "Are you okay?"